got people who waiting to sell. Blessing that time and the effort I read. The brother gave me the fear, the parents from there. The welcome my life with African.
I lyrical health.
Master.
Les paris sous avec you, I can't Sktv benyo. C'est ma chenille, tina ke ase ma yamo. Engi sano muni, emu aye yo. Engi lofa mui, emu aye yo.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grand bazaar.
And I didn't ya to money, and I said ya to money, and I couldn't play ya to money, and I could do ya to money, and I didn't ya to money, and I said ya to money, and I couldn't play ya to money, and I could do ya to money, and I don't get it now ya to money. That's the TV, and I don't get it now. Cause you walk on my ya to money. Yeah.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grand bazaar.
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We talking about podcasts and connecting people and culture from here and out part of the globe. Qualified people who waiting to sell. The flesh, the time, and the efforts are red. The broadcast we giving are real and the promise my best. The work with my life with us, yeah. From grandfather Nima to Lufa, from River Sass, River G to Chile, from Penku, Bombay, Kevon, Montserrat, San to Bakulu, from Maryland, Bonkan to the Mikey B. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa.
Indeed, we are the best in the land, LRB. For a matter of fact, Sktv is the best. That's why when people go into their favorite chat rooms or they go into their meetings, we're always there with them, because they always discuss us, and that, sometimes even what you maybe what you're thinking of, sometimes you think that maybe people are not following what you do, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who follow the kind of thing we do here. Because for us here, we don't sugarcoat anything. Yeah, because the betterment of our country is what matters to us. So for us, we don't care about which political party you think you want to side with, or which side you think that you want to put on your head. As far as we are concerned, for us, we take the motto of the rescuers. They say, think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. So for us, I think that's our motto now: love, build, and think. Because if you think, or if you love Liberia, you will most definitely what? Show love. And even in a good book, the Bible, everything is all about love. Everything is about love. So if you don't want to show your brother and sister love, you continue to show them hatred, thinking that because you're in positions, because you are heading one or two positions, so you want to look down on people, you want to insult people, you just want to color speech, even for your own community. There are a lot of us with any kind of behavior, When we come from the little village, as soon as the sun shines on us, we abandon the village. Look, good evening, people. Share the show that Mom just stated. Share the show. Today is Friday. Even though some of you stay away from our little support, a cash app, and so forth. No wahala. But today's Friday, and we'll be here. So many things to talk about. Monk will soon join us. Monk and that of the rest of the team. They will be here with us this evening. But we want you to please give us like, comment, and share. That's the best thing to do. At least let's be able to hit almost 400, or maybe 300 to 400. Then we start our discussion. So many things happening though, from another case to another case. Well, that's going to be interesting. Look, Liberia, from another rape case to another rape case. Then we will add Monk and the rest of the team that in the US to give us a comprehensive, yeah, man, this country is interesting, but that's the fact. But Mark and that Brother Aliu and my social chairman Steve Bulletin will give us a happening there in the US, because we understand that if not almost all of our government officials, some of them they are there, some of them are there. But it's interesting, and I'm enjoying it because I'm seeing all kinds of things, all kinds of videos, photos, everything coming from the hall there, which of course is magnificent. Let me be frank, and it's fine to our all folks, to our people there. So let me share the show, people. Some of you who just joining, let's share the show. If you just joining us, we want to say a pleasant good evening and welcome to the Friday edition of the SKTV show. Good evening to Oni Osuma Roberts, right there in the US. Mark, my boss, Oni Roberts, also in the US there with you people. So, yes, I think, you got to say hi to him. Yes, indeed. We will do that, or we'll do everything. Let's share the show, people. Please, let's share. Give us a like, comment, and share. That will be good for us. We have so many things to talk about today. And yes, indeed. And as you may be aware, so many things happening back home and around the world. One will also chip us in with the UN. The UN GSA ongoing though, even though there are some of the leaders when they are speaking, other people. But I don't think that's a good way to go. I don't know what kind of protest is that, but again, that is society we live in. You can't force people, Other people be talking while other people walking out. That is society we live in. And so the UN, people have their own way of protesting. So where other people were talking today, some people were walking out. But I don't know. Maybe more will tell us what are these things are necessary. What are maybe is the best way to resolve issues by walking out. Yes, again, Monk is here already. No time to waste. My dear brother, good evening, Monk, and everything.
What's up, Melbourne? Another day to be on SKTV. Today is Friday. I think after today I'll be gone for a little while, but I'm here. I think I came since Wednesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3 days.
Yeah, you're always chipping in.
Yep. But it's good to be here. Another day, a lot of events happening. You can keep track. We live in the 24 hours news cycle, so you just need to filter out the news and take the most important one, because most of them are distraction. And trust me, even the media, they got a theory they call flooding the zone, where when things are going on, they pump out a lot of news out there, knowing fully well that people won't be able to concentrate. When you give human being too much information, it becomes hard to process the more important one. But the media can do that for a reason. When there's a news out there that they're not in favor of, what they do, they pump out a lot of news. Breaking news. By the time they go after 6 or 7 breaking news, then you forget about the main event. So they are all strategy too when it comes to communication in the media. So that's what they do. They call it flooding the zone.
I don't know how Monk, how you get all of these things. Monk is like, you're so kind of a person though. But anyway, guess what, Monk? What you just said that sometimes the government benefit. That, for example, some kind of more news on the government. Maybe you quote that may not favor the government, That's
what you do.
So by the time all the breaking news come about, I need the government to be able to brief it.
Let me tell you something. There is a group here they call Media Matters. That's what they call the media, the fourth estate. Back in the days, the election used to be decided by the media. When the media favor one candidate, they report the news in a way that it blackmail. It's even happening today. And the news, it took me a while to figure it out. It took me almost 10 years of my life to really settle down as to how the people politics work. That one party is totally backed by the media. So when you're going after them, you forget the candidate and focus on the media, because the media has a lot of leverage. The information age, and decision, the quality of the decision you're making in life is based on the information you are giving. We are always making decisions based on information. So people figure out that if we can control the media, then we can make inroads in politics. So when the media favor one party or one candidate, they won't put their flaws out there. Even when they are into corruption, they will play quarterback for them all the time. And then they will take their attention and focus on one candidate. They are in the business of destroying one candidate. They did it to a former president, Richard Nixon, that was in. He was not impeached, but he resigned. It was the media that came up with that. So now we live in a different era, because back then we never had too much access to information. But now we live in the information age now. Everybody have access to information. So the new strategy is, after losing that leverage of making political decision, now when you go against the narrative, they got a new name for you. They call you a conspiracy theory, that you spreading misinformation. So they attack you, even though we all have access to information, and even when you get the right information, because they still want the general public to kind of give them their attention. They still want that notoriety. So when you can think outside the box now, when you can question their narrative, they call you a conspiracy theory. And that word conspiracy carry a negative connotation. So we are in the information warfare now. That's why the media will tell you now, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. So their goal is not to give you information. Their goal is to sway your public opinion on issue. So when you watch the news now, the news is not interested in giving you the factual information. They want to give you the information in the way that they will force you to make decisions for one side. That's what's happening now. So you got to be your own security out there when it comes to information. Go to independent news network.
So Mark, then I go back to the social media.
Yeah.
Most often, sometimes, even some of the news before even some of the news come out, or even before some of the news then talk about on the traditional media, the social media will first of all talk about the news. Sometimes people will result out of the news to the social media, and at the end of the day, sometimes people will say, okay, let's wait for the radio. Finally, which of course is the traditional media, that what we're doing now. That's the only time that people will believe that, yes, I think this information that I saw on the internet, I now believe that, yes, indeed, because, for example, Truth FM or Sktv talk about it. So that go back to the social media era, because sometimes you just said that people will be thinking that maybe the media against the media, this and that. And I also have a follow-up question, which had to do with almost from my own observation. All of the times, you will notice that opposition, or in fact, when people are into oppositions, they mostly benefit from the media. But sometimes the media not doing it, like for example, for them, but because the bad news out there have also favoring the opposition. But sometimes people will think that oh yes, these people they are against that. For example, we are here today. People think that we are SARS, and we for other group of people, and in fact we are blackmailing us, and that was not said. So I want you, saying bring about this, I want you to give your own perspective about this, that the social media and the traditional media, the government, and the opposition. Because when people transition into government, they also abandon the media. And the bad news out there almost all the times, these are news that even the public, they want to even consume. So what say you?
Well, there is a reason for that. And that's why when you get the information, you got to verify the source of the information. Because in the Western world or in advanced society, the media is bought and paid for. They work on a parent company, and they are millionaires and billionaires that own those parent company, and they have an objective. Some of them are liberal, some of them are conservative. So based on the background of that particular media outlet, they trace the news in a way that favor a particular party or a particular candidate. The reason is like that, because for the first time in history, that's why I posted on my page, that the social media will cause more damage to humanity than any other tools ever invented in human history. Because for the first time, we all carry something in our pocket called a mobile phone. So technically, everybody out there now is an independent journalist, right? Because how the news work is, an event happen, people go there and ask certain information, forward it to studio, process that information, put a spin and angle on it. Now, let's just take, for example, we own Sktv. And Chairman Billy believed that he could use Sktv to push a political agenda. It means we are already bought and paid for. So it means every information we will put out here is already twisted, the angle, the narrative, the talking point. We shift it in a way that it will favor us, Chairman Billy, right? I'm just giving an example now. If that's what we wanted to do, If somebody was to come back, maybe Joseph Parker say, you know what, SKTV, you guys are causing damage to my administration, and I want the media to favor me so I can get, positive public rating or public sentiment to go my way. He can buy us, right? And every time we bring on news here, we will be given the news, but the angle from which we'll be given the news, it will favor the government. So it's nothing new. That's just standard operating procedure now. But like I said, everyone now is an independent investigator, because for the first time in history, maybe something can happen in a war and the rest of the world can get to know today within split second because of what mobile technology and social media. And that's where we are today. So you look at the credibility of the network reporting the news, you understand who got those networks, who financing them, before you can take any information credible out there. Matter of fact, the independent journalists and the individual out there, they are even more credible now than the media, because for them, they are giving you the story raw and unfiltered. They don't have to go and twist the angle. They are reporting it. They get their live camera. They're recording the event. They are reporting. You are seeing it live on camera. So it's a whole different era we live in now when it comes to information gathering or disseminating information. Yeah. That's just where it is.
Yeah. So Mark, you are correct. But for me, so that means all of the accusations against the media, Mark, what say you? Because sometimes people falsely accuse the media for no reason. And they just stated the media, we have the business angle of the media, which of course we need funding to also survive.
Yep.
Now when the government, or when these people, when they are into opposition, like I just stated, they benefit. Because anything you say here, whether it's negative or is positive, the positive part will go in favor of the ruling party or the government. But when it's negative, whether you are opposition or you in what kind of party, as long as you are not in government, it benefit them. But they will watch all of these things more. But when they get into government or into governance, then they see the media as anti. But yesterday, they were benefiting from the same truth talking, from the same ills that we discuss almost every day. But then they see like we are the one creating problems here and there.
Well, it all depends where you find yourself. If you are the opposition, it means you are outside looking in. Your job is to just criticize, keep the government in check. That's your role. So you are the one outside looking in, right? And when you are in the government, your role now is not to criticize. Your job is to govern. You are the one inside looking out. And most of the time when it comes to, because the actual job of the media is to keep the government in check. That's why they call it the fourth estate. It's your job to report independent facts, right? But like I said, certain media houses are already bought and paid for. That's just PR, to play PR for the government. So most of the time, the people who are criticizing the government, when they are in, they are on the opposite side of the eye. So they see the media not as the enemy, but before, the media was an ally, because they were in the position of the opposition. Now, when you're in the position of government, you don't want someone. That's why they will always have problem with Sktv. They want us to present story that is not happening in reality, just for the sole purpose of not criticizing the government. And I would say, when the government sign a concession agreement, or they do something better and they are playing right by the Liberian people, we will talk their horn on Sktv. But I'm not going to sit on this platform to give Joseph Baga, to sing praises to Joseph Baga for something he's not doing. I'm not going to give him credit when he destroying institutions in that country, whether it's about corruption, whether it's about weaponizing state power. I'm not going to do that. So if you're out there and you think that Sktv is too harsh on the government, then simply tell the government to step up our game so Sktv can give her credit for what she's doing. But we are not going to change our business model yet because we want to please certain people who believe that we are too critical. I don't think, because the day Sktv reads that, then maybe you won't see me on this platform again. And I'm not here to just bash Joseph Boaga and the Unity Party government. Anything positive that is in favor of the Liberian people, we will be here to blow the trumpet for the Boaga administration. Until then, it's business as usual on Sktv. I don't know.
Wonderful. I just like the word that you just used, critical, because we're always discussing critical issues. That's why when some of them, they call after the show, they, oh, maybe why you put here? I said, no, don't use the word hate. Or why you put against? I said, no, don't use the word against. No one against the government. Government is for the people, by the people. So how will people go against government? We just hate, or in fact, we are discussing all of the bad attitude of the government officials. That just because some of you, all you know is to your praise and worship. When you're in opposition, you see all of the bad things. Like yesterday, all of the rescuers yesterday, they were two major issues, Monk, that most of them were even campaigning on the issue of job creation. I didn't hear anybody criticizing the previous government for development. No. But they were talking about job creation. They also talk about the issue of drugs today. But when you want to talk about these issues, now they see you like you are against and you don't like the government and you don't want the government to prosper. I don't know what their own definition of prosper or so forth. But again, Monk, let's go ahead. You in the US, I don't know, because there are so many happening. Okay, I think Mr. Dollar is here. We have the video already in queue that we're going to play. So maybe you don't, Betty, maybe you don't understand. Let me tell you the page that we're using. This is our backup page. So let me just tell you. And this page is growing. So maybe if to you that it's even okay for us. We're not looking for maybe what you think about. This is our backup page that we use. So we use our backup page so that we will be able to, in case when there are issues with our original page that have close to 500,000 followers that have been having issues. So we use that page as a backup page for our network. So if you come here, forget about, even if there's one person viewing us, we are happy. We're not into competition with viewers here and there. We're not paying people. We are not paying, or in fact, we're not here and there doing what kind of fake viewers or maybe as you may think about. So as far as we are concerned, the people that's supposed to even follow this, the entire show, is the people who listen to us via the radio, meaning they are the ones that have all of the issues. So we're not coming here for that. Yeah,
and you just and this person just made a point. That's why we choose to do what we want to do, because if you're interested in ratings and the viewership, then you have to lie. You have to satisfy one side. So I would prefer talking to. We are already on the radio, so I'm not interested in the social media numbers because we are already on the radio. The radio is throughout the entire country. So why should I worry about viewership? Maybe if you're interested in viewership, then the Spoon Network would be your favorite network, because that's what they do there. It's all about yellow journalism, it's about sensationalizing stories, it's about the viewership. So SKTV for us, we remain with our late 500, 600, 400. Yeah, I think we'll take that. Once we are on the radio, I think then we are in good shape. Until we are off the radio, then I can focus on social media viewership, because the radio is unlimited. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. So who cares about the Facebook viewership?
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Donald, let me say good evening and happy Friday to you. I better say happy weekend.
Yeah, good evening, my dear brother. Glad to be with you and brother Stuart.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, how do you call this?
Monk.
Monk, happy to see you, mate.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dolly.
Thank you, my dear.
Well, Mark, I don't know whether you want to give us a little update, or can we discuss little happening there from your end quickly before we play the video that already in queue coming from Ghana and so forth, before we go straight into our discussion, because there are so many things happening to the end there, and our president and you people having some, I don't know, it's a town or meetings.
Yeah.
What going on?
Well, there are a lot of things happening here while the UNGA summit is ongoing. We seen our government officials, they are all here. Someone just posted online. The people from Liberia came to America to have a meeting for the people in America, because the vast majority of the people present over there, they are mostly government officials and sympathizers of Unity Party, because I know if it was a diaspora conference, the outreach was going to be massive. We got individuals that have been doing the diaspora thing for a very long time. But somehow, for a president who won diaspora and deported, and he wanted Donald Trump shipping them home as fast as possible, I don't know since when they became interested in the whole thing of diaspora engagement. But the last time I checked, they were all government officials that I saw over there. Most of them, I haven't seen prominent Liberian from here, business-minded people and other folks been in that meeting. So I don't know how they came up with it. The outreach, like I said, the objective of that meeting, I have no clue. Or just ended up walkabout in Liberia, we call it walkabout expedition from UN General Assembly headquarters, because they're in New York. And when you are on the East Coast, you can travel from one place to another. You can go to Delaware, you can go to Philadelphia, you can go to New Jersey. So maybe another entertainment expedition, because I don't expect anything to come out of that meeting, because if they were really into diaspora engagement, trust me, the outreach, the networking, the objective would have been clear for people all over the Americas to be over there. But the last time I checked, it were all lawmakers and people within the government. The vast majority of people in attendance. So I'm not buying into that.
Wonderful, good. So quickly before we go back to Mr. Dollar, Mark, let me ask, because sometimes some of the meetings, I don't know what the true intent of these meetings, because some of the meetings should be around maybe the development, the forward march of our country and so forth, and sometimes these leaders they just pass through like that, but sometimes even all of the recommendations that you will give, sometimes they don't listen. What Liberians tend to benefit from the meetings, because you people on a very serious note contribute hugely when it comes to the economy of our country.
Yeah, the diaspora contribute the most. You can't even compare the government contribution in terms of what they collect in royalties and taxes. It does not even come close. I think one of the highest so far for remittances were almost one time it was like $600 to $800 million in a year. Businesses, school fee, keeping people up, or investment, people not taking property, or building their homes. So the remittances alone is almost like 1/3 of the country's entire GDP. So the diaspora is the biggest force in Liberia's economy. And so you can't count the diaspora out. I'm just saying in terms of investment that will benefit the country in particular, you need a strategy. Kenya has a diaspora. Ghana and other people got a diaspora. They come here, they form partnership, they meet business executives, they discuss idea, carry investment to the country. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not too inclined to the meeting happening, but I know that it's another walkable expedition, I will tell you, because the last time I checked, the president attended so many forums, symposium, international conferences to woo in investors, and we are yet to see some of them. The only thing I saw yesterday was the auctioning again of the remaining oil blocks to some Nigerian company, and I think ExxonMobil. So that's all I know. I cannot tell you anything about that conference, my brother, because I was saying I'm not fully aware of the intent or what they are trying to achieve at the end of the day in terms of investment, whether it's about job creation. I have no idea. Mr. Dollar, you can take it from there. Maybe you want to show, like, maybe you got more information on this diaspora engagement or meeting.
Yeah, I have something to say about it, because the organizers of the diasporas in America had a chat with me. That was, I think, on Tuesday, where I give him a few questions, because he's organizing the diaspora situation in America, the organizer. So he and I talk. I say, can you please tell me the benefit of this, the president coming to meet with the Liberian in the diaspora? What would be the benefit? So we will discuss something very lengthily. Listen, I said, but can you please tell me, the Liberian that already established business in Liberia, the government are witch hunting them, trying to bring them to their knees. So what is the guarantees that those that have not gone to Liberia yet with their business, what is the guarantee the government will give it to them that when they go to establish their business, and if it's not part of the government, will really establish it, they will not be witch hunted? He never answered that question. You see, if you got any question, I will give you the website where he can put all your information there. We will give it to the president. I said, no, you organizing the thing and he meeting with me today. Take this my message to the president. Tell him we want to see the guarantees of the people that are in the diaspora, if their business will be guaranteed, because the evidence is those that are already there, they have not been protected because they're not member of the ruling establishment. So if the president can give that guarantees, he will start out with the people that are already there, that already established, and their business is well protected. Then the question he asked me was, he said, which are some of the witch hunt? I said, the evidence is one Musa abilities who had a business and the government is doing everything to bring a man down to his knee. Because the option that they are putting up is not in favor of the citizens of our country. Then you say, okay, your message will be taken to the president. So for me, to be honest, Brazilian mom, this kind of situation have been the habits of our Liberian government from time to time. They always denigrate, witch hunt, renowned business people that provide employment for their citizens so long they are not part of the ruling establishment. They will always do everything to cripple you to the fullest. Quite recently, I saw it in a newspaper. I think whether it's the one country superintendent, senator or maybe senators, one of them telling Musa Beliti in a newspaper that you will cry and get tired. How can you make such a statement, for God's sake? This is a citizen that established business in the country, employs more than 300 human beings. All these human beings there, when you cripple this man business and the business go down, all the 300 people will be laid out. Do you have some job for them? You're telling them you will cry to get tired. So these are some of the things I can't really get over. Brazilian month and Melbourne. Why our government have doing this? Why? And the citizen looking at it because it's not to their doormat, so they didn't care. But fail to realize that what happened to John Brown, it can happen to Peter.
Yeah. So, Mr. Dora, quickly, let me just add up to that. When you go back to the president visitation or his town hall meeting with the Diaspora, you talk about, he said, team, building the future together, reconciliation, national healing, growth, and prosperity. So,
these are faith statements. These are faith statements. These are just a propaganda statement because it does not resemble what the reality that happening on the ground. Nobody's stupid. These are faith statements. You talk about unities and here and there. Look at how the country is divided based on the party line. That's a unity there. When last he ever called the other opposition to say, look, let's come to the turntables, we sit down and discuss how we can run this country. When last he ever done that? Eh? So these are faith statements, Johnson.
Yeah, so let's move back. Mark, if you go back into your, sorry, I just got to put you there. But there are so many things that have been said by the president. In fact, I mean, just read, I think, which paragraph is that paragraph 3 or maybe 2 or 3 or 4. So he said, we have indeed come a long way. And if we are honest with ourselves, we inherited a country that was facing far more problems than we could resolve overnight. Institutions were operating below their ultimate levels. The economy was faltering. Security had broken down significantly, and the overall mood in the country was one of desperateness. But we believe the challenges we face as a country and can be overcome when we are intentional in our resolve to revise the past. So, Mark, the same shifting of blames, the same thing we experienced from Manan Salif to that of former president, we are now to President Joseph Yema Bouaka. Blame shifting, that everything broken down. What say you?
Well, the last time I checked in the past, I would say in the past 20 years, the only government that inherited a broken structure was Manan Salif government. Because we just came from war, teachers out of job, hospital, infrastructure, everything was literally broken down. So she had to resuscitate a failed state. That's how they describe it in the West, because nothing was operational, nothing was functioning. But 12 years of stability, and easier transition of government. You came, you met payroll structure, you met reserve. Georgia inherited a reserve, $160 million sitting in New York that they used to transition. So you cannot keep making the excuses that you inherited or broken. No, Georgia Baga, you had a peaceful transition of power. Yeah, we have some challenges, but you cannot say everything in the country was broken. They stayed there. All the institutions are still in place. You just don't know how to manage them. But yeah, it's the thing, Melbourne, and you can't blame them. You know, we don't have the togetherness in our culture, whether we are the group overseas or the group back home, right? We don't have that symbiotic relationship when it comes to working as a team. So Diaspora initiated, I cannot place my bet only when it comes to Liberia, because the whole idea of this thing is to work in collaboration. And the government will even say give some incentive, like to sponsor something like that, to encourage more Liberians to get involved in the country. Let me tell you something. You know now, like countries like Rwanda, the Ivory Coast, the Ghana, all the countries that are doing well economically, Kenya, Tanzania, they all have a diaspora office. And the whole idea of the diaspora is to foster economic tie so that Liberians overseas will encourage businesses to move back there. Now, the people are so serious about the diaspora, they're not only targeting their own people, now they are targeting even people, African-American people from different parts of the world, to go and invest in Africa. But in the case of our country, the diaspora is only good when it comes to money. Do you know that Guinea had an election and that people overseas were able to vote? They don't even want you participating in the process back there. Because here's the thing, they believe that the people in the diaspora, the vast majority of them, they live in advanced country, they got different perceptions, they won't take things happening in the country. I'm not saying every one of them, I'm talking about the vast majority. That's why you see the problem always come from the diaspora. The reason being, maybe you see things from a Liberian perspective, the day you travel to other parts of the world and you see how people live, it will have a profound impact on the way you make decisions and the way you think and the way you see politics. That's why things that we used to accept back then, we cannot accept it now because we came to another part of the world and got to know that we've been wasting our time all these years. So in the case of Liberia, they believe that when you get more diaspora involved, then it will be a problem for them. That's why when they want to raise money, they come to the diaspora. But when it comes to involving the diaspora in the country matter, no, they don't want that. They want to deal with the people on ground because they feel they can manipulate people on the massive scale, and that won't fly with the diaspora too often. So for them, it's about the politics. It's not about economic tie. It's not about bringing. Choda Baga cannot provide jobs. Choda Baga never worked a single day in his entire adult life in the private sector. Why make it think able to bring about job creation? It will never ever happen because he just does not have that skill. Whether you support Unity Party, you support CDC, you cannot change the fact. That's why they will keep struggling. They will keep kicking the can down the road. They will come up with the distraction to make you to believe that they are working towards something, but Allah, nothing happening. It will go into year number 2. Before January will be year number 3. And we are not seeing something, whether it was the one that in Houston, the one that were in Texas, in Atlanta, Singapore, you can name them. Have you seen any tangible in terms of real job creation? No, because he does not understand that. He's a bureaucrat. He's been in government all his life. So what make you think that coming to Washington, D.C. and meet you feel like Brain going to change the trajectory? No, that's not going to happen. It won't.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Dollar, what say you, Mojo, talk something? I think the amount is making, I'm not sure I say almost, I don't even know how many percent, but because sometimes you don't want to take from people, but at least you have to allow that person or the people to also have a say. But instead, what Mo is saying, most of the time, you will see our government officials, including Senator Dallas, they don't want hugely supported by the same diaspora. And today, in fact, they have been denied so many times of opportunity of even voting. But every time they will go back to the U.S. or to the Western world or seek Liberians who are there, seek their help, and someone tell them that, okay, we came in this thing for your people. And when they bring this thing back home, they also use these things as a political tools for the same people that they claim that they are going out there to lobby for. But at the end of the day, they're not saying, coming from you people, Mr. Dollar, what say you with all of the conference?
Yeah, to be very frank, Liberia situation is a very interesting issue because the matter of fact that we have to have a positive thinking about one another. But one of the problems we have, the brothers and sisters in Liberia, in the political arenas, look at the people in a diaspora as an alien. So setting right there, they don't even want them to enjoy that right. If the president is serious, I give this message to the organizer who in America that having to meet with the president in the diaspora conference. I say, first of all, this is the situation. Did we get the right to vote with our in a diaspora? Because for us, no one can bring one back or right. Say, vote for me. Then I will look at you and vote for you over bringing a sensitive plan to me. What going to benefit the masses and what going to benefit me as a citizen of a country. So that's the reason why they're refusing to allow us to vote. Will you advocate for that? He said, yeah, definitely. He said, I've been advocating for that and I will continue to advocate for it. He promised me that statement. But here is the situation. The thing is very simple. Let us think positively. Let us do things positively. Some of the countries that I know of, because every nation in Africa, the improvement, the development of that country is from their citizens in a diaspora. The citizens come always so many ideologies to employ in the country that benefit the citizens. Like the country that I know of right now, quite recently, the new law that they put out, any of their citizens going by home to establish, to do anything, any goods you coming to start with, you only pay half percent of the tax. The other half is on the government. They do charge you for it. If you're supposed to pay $100 for your goods that you bring in to establish your life in a country, they ask you to pay $50. The other $50 is for government. That is not our own plan. Our plan right now, the government even making the payment of our custom tax and stuff and things then very higher than any other country in a continent of West Africa. We pay more tax for input than any other country in West Africa today, Liberia, because they got all kinds of criminals entities attached with this kind of payments. When people carry continue, the kind of huge amount of money that you will pay for your container, you will be even more than the value of your goods in the container. So all these things there is a discouragement. The government really looking at all these things there before coming to stand in front of people and say, okay, you can't establish business, you can't do business in your country, you love work together. Eh? They are not even considering all these things there. So obviously, I don't think the people are serious. It can be any other government. You need to know that people that you're asking them to come, you protect them, protect their interests, their business interests. Then they will provide employment for the citizens of the country. Because each citizen that go to establish even a corner shop in that country, you will employ at least about 2-3 people, and that 2-3 people will live on the street to be useful in a country. But that is not happening. So for me, the language is looking good, but the attitude is wrong, completely wrong, because the misbehavior on the ground there. Some of these people they need to be prosecuted at the end of the day when they leave these offices. So, Melbourne.
Yeah, so Mr. Dollar, you are quite correct. Before we transition, Mark, you know, I don't know how long you guys or you people are going to take this, but because sometimes too, for me, being it seems like sometimes get issues with some of you, also, you know, from the US. Like, in fact, even on the platform, I think once upon a time, I also said that all of these things, to you people to embrace some of these things, and you know, because because these things should have been placed even on that round town hall meetings or what you may call, that people will be that the leadership will be able to understand that yes, indeed, I think what we're doing to these people is not right. But in the midst of most of you, there are other people who think that it's not necessary because quote unquote they are also into the government. So as long as they are benefiting from the system, whether the system maybe do the right thing or not, they don't care. So this thing is going to last forever until I don't even know judgment day or well, how long you guys going to take this? Because every time, even when you come down here, people see you like, in fact, you're not Liberians. Even on the talk show, you hear people describing you people like, well, what's going on? Because the way the government, I think the way the government presents you people out there, that's why the citizens also buying you people in this form and manner. But how long will this continue?
Well, it's more of a cultural thing. It's been happening, so I don't expect it to change. Like I said, we are a nation. We don't have a structural cultural identity, right? We are more diverse, and from the foundation of Liberia, we have never been in the business of working together on anything. Even the ones that overseas, I give example on the show. Even when it comes to things like churches, even in religious institutions, everybody will break away. Everybody will split. It's not part of us. Let me tell you something. You got a people who see the diaspora as a cash cow, that when they want help, when they want money, that's when they look to the diaspora. But when it comes to idea and moving the country forward, no, they don't want any participation. They see it was us versus them. That was the same thing that started in the early 80s, going to the 90s between the natives and Congo that had a CA. That when you oversee, you somehow an enemy to them because they believe you guys. Why do you think our own lawmakers wanted to impose a law to deny Liberians that were born in Liberia of their own country? When other countries are going beyond their citizens and even attracting other people that were not even born in their country. Why do you think that is the case? It's the same mindset. So I don't think it's one government. It's just a cultural thing that's been happening forever, that we don't work together no matter what we find ourselves. Whenever you come up with a great idea, someone will be there to honor my idea. The only difference is now you got one group that across the Atlantic Ocean and another group back home. So that's how you can see it. That's why I keep telling you, if Liberia wanted collaboration with the diaspora, you are seeing government policy, you are seeing the government giving incentives. Let me give you a typical example. Just recently, Michael Turner, they set the mayor for Houston. He took a 23-man delegation team to Ghana, an African-American man, right, to go do exploration, right, and assessment. You know how much they're supposed to invest in Ghana, or sister city between Houston and Ghana? $224 million from oil to technology. Can you imagine that? I'm not saying a man who is not a Ghanaian. Why make you think in this country, right? Maybe when you watch all the YouTube video, and then African American are talking about going back home, which country they can call first? Ghana. Why do you think that is the case? Are they Ghanaian? No, because Ghana has now created a condition in where they believe that every black man is supposed to come from Ghana, even though that is not the case. African American people that came here as slaves came from different parts of Africa. But when you ask the typical African American now, when it comes to the diaspora and repatriating or moving back to Africa, the very first country they'll call on the list, they believe that they are Ghanaian. How do you think that happened? System and what the people did. You think that will happen in the case of Liberia when our own lawmaker, even when you get an American passport, they still put it in your passport country of origin, Liberia. Our constitution said once a Liberian, always a Liberian. But yet, they got people who fundamentally believe that when you leave the shores of Liberia, you are some kind of an enemy to the state, except when they want money from you. That's when we become an ally. That's just a cultural thing. I don't think it's politics. It's just a reality.
Wow, Mr. Donner, that's it. So yeah, Mark, for me, I think our society or our leadership, I think they had to double up. That's not the right way to go. That's not a good thing because because the thing about it is that you people who are hugely contributing, let me be frank, even most of these structures, most of the development today that you are seeing all around, where you see people posting on the internet about buildings here and there, are all coming from you people. All of these development are ongoing right now, massive development, all coming from you people. So to hear this thing like, oh yeah, don't come, in fact, don't contest, don't, when you people come down, you people will do this, you people will take the people there, you people have money, and in fact, that you overshadow the entire elections. I think all of these things are not necessary. And for me, I would recommend to you people that you people have to stand up, because if you don't stand up, nobody will stand up for you. And then you stand among, they're just using you people. Always time for elections, they will go in the US or maybe in the diaspora there for fundraising. All the time, only fundraising. When they raise the phone on, when they get into positions, even the president of ours today, who almost all of his elections, fundings and so on, come from the diaspora. He was making some statements the few times. That okay, any people talking about me, Donald Trump coming for them. Today, the same people you're going back to. I don't know, sometimes be thinking like our leadership, what if something is really wrong with us?
And you were laughing with it. You were laughing with it when you were making that statement.
You were laughing. And today, it's the same diaspora, it's the same Liberians that you were talking about that Donald Trump coming for them. That Donald Trump message for them. It's the same Liberians. Today, he's talking that, oh, you know, the country is hugely divided and you saying all of this. You don't know all of these things, Mr. President? What again, Mark? I don't know another thing before
yeah, my last statement on this diaspora issue is, where if the government is serious, we want him to exhibit good thinking, good behaviors on the ground. That is, our brothers and sisters that are already established, got business, small business, big business, or whatever business. Provide incentives, provide security for them. Let us see how the security atmosphere is going before the people in the diaspora will be encouraged to go. If you see people today going to Ghana from different parts of the world to say they're going to establish in Ghana, they see the super security system in that country. When you come with your goods or whatever thing you got there, security there to protect you. Quite recently, let me tell you something. This Liberia security is seriously fragile. They played the called World Trade Center in Monrovia. Some group of guys went and bust the place and enter there and do whatever they want to do. If there's something like that, even happened to my own born child quite recently in Monrovia, riding his motorbike to 72nd area, some gangs take the stick and hit the man on his face and throw him on the ground and take the motorbike and go. So it's so, and when they call police will say, okay, we hear it. Some of the area is a no-go zone for police. Can that happen? Then you talking about security? Some areas, I can name the areas in Monrovia. I'm not living in Monrovia, but I'm a security personnel. I know. I got information on a daily basis on the security aspects of our country. You see, between 72nd to Kissel Boulevard, to Great Allison Boulevard, to go bus to this TB Annex, that road there, that boulevard there, is a no-go zone. You see, after the Coca-Cola factory going towards this place, the Mambakwe, at time, there's no-go zone. You know, so many areas in Monrovia, no-go zone. What the police are doing, the force, the strength of the Liberia National Police, less than 3,000, the whole country. So the people are not secure. The people are there, they already not secure. Then you think people will come with their goods and things then, with their life to come and risk in our country when you are not providing security. Beside the ministers and senators then that got their special bodyguard and things there, who else secure in that country? No one. After 7 o'clock, you remember, if you don't have your own car, will you be on the street? So it's a serious matter. These are the cardinal issues that the government need to look at first before you start telling people to come home to establish business. Provide social security system in the country. When people die, the security number, immediately this will be a police with the ambulance around the area, they're right away to arrest the situation. That happening? No. If you go to the police with your complaint, they will ask you to buy gas. So it's a serious matter. Let the government look at all these things before he can ask the people to come home.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dollar. So more quickly before we go, because we have about 5 minutes after the news, and I think we'll come back and we'll play that video that you talked about from the Ghanaian president. Then we see how best to talk one or two before going to the land to interact with our people. But Mark, there's another rape issues that in fact I just surfaced in the news, pertaining to one. Sandro Kroma, also from the Ministry of Agriculture, alleged that he raped a 14-year-old girl, and I think the news is, in fact, it's just coming out. So
yeah, that's why I didn't focus on it, because I want to give it to Monday to get more details from me.
Yes,
I don't like
indeed. Yes, indeed. So that's one.
Yep.
Yes, I agree with you, Mom. That one. Then two, we hearing news that the Nima County Senator also visited the former president's home to empathize with him with the issue of his maybe of the fire incident. Yes. So, and the fire incident also, people there are a lot of concern have been raised that the Liberia National Police has also been denied. According to them, they also posted that indeed they went there also to investigate, but they are also been denied. Then secondly, the Supreme Court also put halt onto the Asson case, that is the capital building case that has been ongoing, that the lower court should stop every proceeding until, because there was at the statutory that was filed by Fonanti Kofa and his team. So maybe we can look at any of these things before going for the news break. I don't know which one you think that you want to start with first. What is that?
Not much. That whole fire incident from the house, I'm not interested in it. I said it from day one. It's all politics. It's all charade. One side blame the other. The government is blaming the people. They break away lawmakers. So I know nothing will come of that. They will keep dragging and prolonging. I don't expect anything to come out of that case. For the rape issue, like I said, I want to give it to Monday. I don't do the 24-hour that instantly when news pop up and then you want to give analysis on it or you want to wait in. I like to get more details. When the dust settles, you will get more information as day goes by. So I don't think I think Monday would be the best time to. The rape issue I cannot talk about. I don't have too much information, so I know by Monday would be good on that.
For the fire issue at the Temple of Justice, it will just be a fiasco, one of the fiasco cases that bro was witnessing. You see, I said it the last time, couple of weeks ago, when we talk about the same thing. I say, anything you started on a wrong footing, you will end up in a wrong footing. You see, first of all, the police that will call on to the scene of the Capitol building, they went there as a part of policing. They did not go there as a police for the nation, for the masses. They take charge immediately. Every corporate arrested in connection with that thing was member of the opposition, which is completely fiasco and wrong in terms of professional investigation. Because this is evident to substantiate that when the police arrive on a crime scene, you don't cherry pick. Pick up every single person you think that they were on the spot and they are interested into the case. No matter, it can even be your own child. If so long this issue have raised, suspicions have raised on that child, you need to be picked up and investigated. If he is innocent, he can be exonerated. But the police did not do that. They cherry pick in the entire episode. They start beating up the opposition's people, flagrant ways, publicly, will having no fear or favor of the masses. So this situation is started in that manner, and every evidence that the collectors is a fiasco evidence. They won't be able to prove the case. And the judge who handling the matter right now he knows fully well that there's no proof in that matters. There's a lot of irregularities. So that's the reason why he shipped the case to the jury. He said the grand jury then should handle it. That's why the Supreme Court saw it that he might be under some level of pressures, duress. So he summoned them to go and do some hearing there to rectify some investigation errors. So I'm sure, I'm 100% sure, the whole case will be a fiasco one. So I don't think the government will ever win that case because they don't have sufficient evidence to substantiate the fact. About Joe Weir fire issue, we not there, but we're hearing that first of all, the fire service people that went there, according to their report that I read, he said they were denied. And the presidents, there's a two witness on that president issue. President was there, president was not there. You know, all the kind of thing that so is I don't know. To be very frank, I don't know who's saying the truth. So maybe we'll leave you to it with your news. Then after that, we'll come back.
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been
leading for a landmark event focused on advancing financial inclusion and growth opportunities for women entrepreneurs in Liberia. The launch featured a panel discussion under the theme Unlocking Financial Inclusion and Growth for Women Entrepreneurs in Liberia. The initiative aims to provide women in business with specialized tools, resources, and financial services to expand and thrive in the modern economy. The new version of Elevate 2 introduces innovative features designed to help business owners scale up through the Elevate app. Entrepreneurs can sell products and services online, access training, and connect with broader markets. Yemin Falayahojo, Deputy Country Representative of UN Women, who served as the guest speaker, has commended EcoBank Liberia for developing such an empowering program. She highlighted that while women are among the most reliable loan payers globally, many remain hesitant to take advantage of financing opportunities. Valayajo urged Liberian women to embrace the Elevate platform, secure loans, and build stronger businesses. For their parts, EcoBank Liberia has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting women-led businesses, noting that Elevate 2 is a specialized program, a banking program designed for ambitious women ready to take their entrepreneurs and enterprises to the next level. A petition seeking to compel Police Inspector General Gregory Cuomo to arrest suspended Youth and Sports Minister Brian Mangil on allegation of rape has finally been filed to the Supreme Court. The head of the Independent Commission on Human Rights Thursday, according to RCR judicial correspondent, filed a petition for a writ of mandamus against IG Cuomo. Councillor Dempster Brown's 7 counts request, among other things, claimed that the prolonged investigation by police in the alleged rape matter by the suspended deputy minister is strange. Councillor Brown said currently many people are being bars at the Morovia Central Prison for alleged rape cases without DNA or CCTV footages and are not given special treatment like the accused Brian Magill. And said the strange act of the police in investigating the rape case is selective justice. And once the accused apprehended and brought under the jurisdiction of the court consistent with the law. Our judicial correspondent said Councillor Brown maintained that the action of the police chief is unbelievable, and such petition will compel him to turn over the accused Brian Mankiw so that the law can take its course. Deputy Minister Brian Mankiw has since been suspended by President Joseph Boakai after he was accused of raping a 14-year-old girl in Painesville. An investigation has uncovered financial documents revealing that the Liberia Civil Aviation Authority, LACC, spent a staggering US $53,356 on a single overseas trip. This amount, according to the report, covered daily subsistence allowance, DSA, and tickets for 6 employees currently attending the International Civil Aviation Organization, the ICAO assembly in Canada. The meeting, which started on September 21, is expected to run until October 3, 2025, involved participants in the 42nd section of the ICAO assembly in Montreal. Report says the spending has sparked outreach over issues of financial prudence, purpose, and delegation composition. According to Rule 2 of the Government of Liberia's revised Travel Ordinance 2025, delegates from ministries, agencies, and state-owned enterprises are limited to 2 persons. At the same time, critics have questioned why non-technical staff, including human resource and administrative personnel, were prioritized over aviation professionals with expertise relevant to ICAO's highly technical policy and regulatory agenda. Bon County District 3 Representative Marvin Cole has launched a strong critique of the current leadership of the House of Representatives, describing the 55th legislature as the worst in the country's history. Speaking on the True Breakfast Show on Thursday, Representative Cole accused the lower house leadership of lacking direction, credibility, and integrity, and of actively silencing dissenting voices. He claimed he and other lawmakers were illegally suspended, resulting in the loss of over $11,000 in benefit in an action he believes violated constitutional procedures and disrespected legislators' rights. Representative Cole also raised concern over alleged budgetary malpractice, citing the disappearance of US $50,000 allocated in the 2020 national budget. He dismissed the Ministry of Finance's justification that the funds were redirected for other priorities, calling it criminal without a formal legislative recast. Although previously a strong supporter of Finance Minister Augustine Gaffon, Representative Cole expressed disappointment in the minister's current leadership, accusing him of disregarding budget laws and lacking transparency in public financial management. He further alleged that funds have been disbursed through the ministry under the influence of unnamed groups with no clear accounting of how they spent the amount. The officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has called on residents of Grand-Bassa County to name and shame people suspected of dealing dangerous substances in the region. Fazar Biako described the prevalence of drugs in Liberia as a threat to security and lives of young people in the country. OIC Biako made the statement during an engagement with residents in Buchanan Grand Bassa County on Friday. The LDA officer in charge encouraged residents to expose individuals engaged in the sale of drugs by informing state security and therefore promised to keep their identities secret. The Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation Managing Director Mo Ali has announced the construction of a major modern water systems for the first time in Sino and Maryland counties. According to Director Ali, the Grange's existing water infrastructure will be expanded, adding that construction and rehabilitation work will begin in the coming months. In Greenville, the county's capital, with over 16,000 residents, the absence of safe drinking water has posed serious public health and economic challenges. He stated that the project is part of President Joseph Boakar's national plan to improve clean drinking water access in the region. Director Ali termed the progress as historic, particularly for Sino, which has lacked running water since the Liberian Civil War. He emphasized that preparations are underway to clear the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation property in Greenville to allow contractors begin the work soon. Unidentified individuals have broken into the back of the famous World Trade Center building in central Monrovia, making away with several valuable items. The building has been under official lockdown since August following a closure order issued by the Liberia National Police. The police has shut down the premises over allegations of forgery and illegal electricity connections. Business owners and tenants at the center have blamed the recent looting on the prolonged government closure, which they say has left the property vulnerable to criminal activities. According to them, repeated attempts to engage relevant authorities to reopen the facility have been unsuccessful. The business community is now calling for an independent investigation into the break-in and urging the government to ensure the recovery of their stolen assets. Two visually impaired brothers, Johnson Selway and Matthew Jaga, are appealing to the Liberian government, humanitarian organizations, and religious leaders for support to improve their lives and those of other disabled individuals in the country. Johnson Selway, a resident of Lockington on Bujo Island, is seeking a power generator, sound equipment, and financial assistance to help spread the gospel and empower fellow disabled citizens. Selway highlighted the many challenges faced by visually impaired in Liberia, especially those who have no choice but to beg on the streets for survival. Asylum Nato Liberia has welcomed a funding visit by the Joint Senate Committee on the Mineral Development Authority compliance to its Yekipa section. In a statement issued Thursday, the steel giant reaffirmed its full compliance with the Mineral Development Agreement and highlighted its contributions to Liberia's economic through infrastructure development, job creation, and community investment. The company used the occasion to clarify that it distracted as misinformation circulating online about the cost of its ongoing Phase 2 expansion project, also known as the concentrator phase. The Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with its development partner, has launched a two-day multi-stakeholder dialogue aimed at promoting private sector investment in Liberia's rice value chain. The event, which brings together over 100 participants, including farmers, private sector investors, officials from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and other stakeholders, is being held under the theme Building Trust and Establishing a Shared Vision for Liberia's rice production. Providing an overview of the policy dialogue on Thursday, Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, David Akwe, said the gathering seeks to assess both the challenges and progress within Liberia's rice sector. Now, out of Liberia, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been addressing the United Nations General Assembly in New York. In his address, he said recognition of a Palestinian state is showing madness, insane, and they cannot do it, adding that recognition by several other countries is disrespectful. As Netanyahu takes to the stage, dozens of people file out of the room in New York in protest as some clap. Netanyahu says loudspeakers in Israel are broadcasting the speech in Gaza. Directly addressing the hostages being held by Hamas, he says they have not been forgotten, not even for a second. His speech comes as Donald Trump says he will not allow Israel to annex the Israeli-occupied West Bank as he is due to meet Netanyahu on Monday. That's RCR News. For just before we go, a recap of the top stories. EcoBank Liberia launches its Elevate 2 program with focus on advancing financial inclusion and growth opportunities for women entrepreneurs in Liberia. Independent Commission on Human Rights files a petition to compel Police Inspector General Greg Okomo to arrest suspended Youth and Sports Minister, that's Deputy Minister Brian Mangill, on allegation of rape. The investigation exposes financial documents revealing Liberia Civil Aviation Authority spent an overwhelming US $53,356 on a single overseas trip out of Liberia. Netanyahu calls Palestinians' recognition disgraceful as doesn't walk out of UN speech. RCR News Bulletin at 7, Emmanuel Sensei, good evening.
Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating.
All right, good. So Mark and Mr. Dollar, we're back after the news break. I don't know whether you people were following. If so, what are some of the things you people captured from the news bulletin? If not, then we can continue with the show.
I told you guys I usually take a break when the news bulletin guys come on. I go get water, maybe scratch my leg outside a little bit.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Dollar, what say you? Well, yeah, Mr. Dollar, I think you are muted. Or I'm asking you as to whether there is anything that you capture from the news bulletin.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Watch it, portion of it. There's 2 issues that draw my attention. One is in Liberia, and the other one is about the Ghanaian president making some statement. So let me start from Liberia and end on with the Ghanaian president speak. You see, some people asking the police director to arrest the deputy ministers who have been suspended in terms of in connection of that rape case. So I really can get over it up to now if there's sufficient evidence to nail the ministers and the ministers have not been sent to the court for the first trial hearing up to present, because he's been over a week or more now. They sense that story being circulating in the country. I really know what up to present. So I yet to understand the reason why up to present he have not been sent to police. I mean to the court by the police. For the Ghanaians president's statement, it's the same thing, similar statement that was made by the president of Kenya to remind the world power what had they been keeping the African continent behind the back, on the back seat. Once we are people that are very much important in the world society today. We got the largest continent in the world, and we got so many countries, and we are member of the statutes of this world organization, because League of Nations, we were there, United Nations, we are there, but we don't got no say, we got nothing to say, we got no decision making. We are just behind the people. Yes, say, they say, that's it, which is completely wrong. I think the world power need to understand one or two things to know that the Africans deserve some position in the United Nations. That's what I can say. But the point of the matter is, when they gave from my observation, when they gave the Africans continent a go ahead to come up for them to suggest what to do, and they will not come over one word. They will be divided, because they will go and listen to their colonial master them, and the colonial masters will tell them what to say in their forum. That's it. So it's very, very scary, and it's too sinful. Otherwise, it's a good idea that we need to be on the forefront as well. We need to be on the front bench to make some decision in United Nations making, because we form part of the United Nations peacekeeping force, the African. So that's what I understand in the whole thing, and
thank you, Mr. Dora. Thank you, Mr. Dora. Mark, I don't know which part of the should I play the video for maybe about 2 to 3 minutes?
Continue maybe for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Then from there we can just go. When I respond, we just go to the phone line.
All right.
It's been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy. And our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle-style sleep. Now, no, that was only after 8 years. Imagine then what it will be like after 80 years since the founding of the United Nations. In 1945, the sun had not yet set on the largest empire in history. The most common mode of international travel was by sea. The personal computer had not been invented, let alone made portable. And television, a new convenience, was still in its infancy, albeit in black and white color. Relations between the US and the Soviet Union were turning frosty, with Winston Churchill declaring that an iron curtain has descended across the European continent. Fast track 80 years on, in today's world, hundreds of thousands of commercial flights take off and land every day. Libraries have been digitized so that volumes of literature can exist on a small device, small enough to fit inside your pocket. We live in a world of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, social media, the internet and its dark hidden dungeon of the dark web, all of which carry a potential threat to global peace and security. Climate change is real, and we're fighting a losing battle against the loss of Maldives and other island nations to the rising sea level, against the loss of Timbuktu to desertification and the Amazon forest to global warming and deforestation. Madam President, the UN Founding Charter is outdated when it comes to representation in this August Assembly. The most powerful post-World War II nations are still being rewarded with an almost totalitarian guardianship over the rest of the world. And yet, the first sentence in Chapter 2, Article 1 of the UN Charter declares that the organization is based on the principle of sovereign equality of all its members. If this were true, and was the case, a continent as large as Africa, with its numerous UN member states, would have at least one permanent seat on the Security Council.
Maybe let's stop it there. I think we got the idea. You know, when you that's why I'm saying my African leaders are getting emboldened, and over time, maybe that will change. That's how you make a case when you come to an international conference. The number one thing we were taught in life, that change is constant in life, right? And in order for you to survive, you got to be able to adapt. You change according to time. That's what they call adaptability. The statement he made, he said, can you imagine the world is changing at a faster rate? Africa is the future. We got the most country on the single continent. We are the second largest continent in the world. We got the youngest population in the entire globe. Africa now got the youngest population. So it means the future is in Africa. If you are United Nations 80 years later, he was saying, I just left the presidency 8 years ago in Ghana. Look at how things have changed from the currency appreciation to price stability to cutting down inflation. Think about an organization that has been existing for 80 years. How can you maintain the same operation? Even though the world is changing gradually, we got cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, internet, with digitizing library, and you're telling me UN has been operating on the same model for 80 years. How does that make any sense? When in fact, I left the presidency less than 8 years ago. Look at the kind of the major change that happened in global event, and you're telling me an organization that promised all that everybody will have equality when it comes to sovereignty. And that's the whole idea I keep telling folks about, the whole thing about globalization and nationalism. Nationalism means you focus on your country. Your country is your first priority, not the globe. Liberia is not responsible for America or France. Liberia is responsible for Liberia. That should be the first and foremost responsibility of any president. You put your country's interest first. Look at the thing that men say, Mabel, that the Bloomberg rate the cities are one of the best performing currency in the whole world. How you make that progress within the space of 8 years? And you telling me, or an organization founded since 1945, you are still using an outdated model when you have an international conference and you're making decisions on behalf of the whole world, in Africa is not represented. How is that called fairness? So he just telling you, and that, you know what, I'm done with the game. I'm going back home to focus on my domestic policy, and my job is to make the Ghanaian people life better. That's what we'll keep doing. We could care less about these conferences, the globalism, the thing, no, because you guys got different motives. Remember, let me tell you something, right? More people don't understand the concept of artificial intelligence. You know what artificial intelligence is all about?
Well,
okay. Back in the days, right? The reason slavery is slavery and immigration, they are one of the same, right? Back in the day, people needed labor. That's why you got to go somewhere across the globe to find human beings to come and work the farm and work in the steel mills and in the factory. But as human beings advanced, we came up with something they call immigration. Why do you think immigration is all about? Taking younger people from one continent and bringing them to another continent to work and grow their economy. So they figure out that most of the countries in the world, because when you see population and the economy, it's almost like a national team and a club team. The club team can buy any soccer player that they want, but the national team can only work with the player that they have. You cannot buy players. So when your player get old and you don't have a program to replace them, your team become weaker. That's the same way with the economy. When the population ages, then it have a negative impact on your economy. That's why you see most of the program, they're taking people from Africa, they're dying overseas, trying to cross to Europe, because Europe got an older population. The Asian population now is old. The only continent in the world with the youngest population is Africa. That's why he's telling you, if we cannot make Africa better, then there will come a time to Africa will get older too, because it's a cycle. So you got to focus on Africa and do what you need to do to make your people live better. And that's exactly what he's saying. But it was a very interesting video. I just thought we show you on the show today. So
yes, indeed. And if I'm not fact, Mark, myself, I follow that. I think a few of them are very, very spoke well when it comes to all of these things, including even our president talked about something. Yes, that was also taken. But I think the president from Kenya also. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Well, because for me, Monk, I don't get it before Mr. Dollar come in. I don't get it that you say that we are all part of the organization, or maybe an organization.
Yeah, global organization.
In the organization, I don't have say. You decide everything, even including my own life or everything. Then that means then you are not being fair enough to me. So that's why you see when President Donald Trump was also blasting, for me, I would really, enjoying it because he was right. Because everything about the entire UN, sometimes people say like, oh yes, UN is this, UN is that, but they themselves, they are not being fair to us, those of us from Africa. You can be a second largest continent with 54
independent states.
54 states.
Yeah.
And you are on the sideline. In fact, even when they want to give you the non-permanent and oppositions,
you got to contemplate about it. Yeah.
you see us celebrating like we are about to win something.
No, there's nothing.
But the reason why this thing are happening more is that because we don't love Africa. Let me be frank. We are just pretending like we're from Africa, but we don't love Africa. We don't want to develop Africa. We don't want to pay attention to Africa. That's why these people are doing what they are doing. Yeah. And they're right.
They're right.
They're right. Because if you develop your home, you love your home so much, and you pay attention to your home. Like, for example, you are the father of the home, and you pay attention to your home, you take good care of your home. Tell me, Monk, who go to bypass and go behind you and even make you and your family to go look ahead? No, they won't listen because they feel that their father doing everything for them. But because today we are living in poverty, that's why you see people are also finding their way through the sea, going through the water, just to survive. But again, Mr. Dollar, what say you?
Yeah, we got a lot to do, as I said. More especially the African continents, we got a lot to do. One of these cardinal problems we have, technologies, is our bigger problem. And if I have my own will, I could tell the African continent to invest heavily into technologies that will help you to alleviate you from poverty. Technology. Today, the world has become a global village based on technology. So if we can manage to invest heavily into something like that, to be able to do things on our own, we'll be able to stand on our own, to do whatever we want to do. If we see today our children have jumping over the sea, passing through the desert to go to America, to come to Europe, it's because of opportunity. We don't have the opportunity. One of the problems we have in Africa is the rule of law is not our friend. We don't respect the rule of law. We prepared good statement in the book. We make a good law in the book, but we do opposite way. So, and nothing comes out of it. So if we can hold our leaders accountable for whatever they do in terms of leadership and punish them severely, then people will do the right thing. Look, a typical example is just right here in France. The former president of France, he took money from Gaddafi to run his election campaign. The people have collect evidence on him. They just prosecuted him. They sentenced him now for 5 years imprisonment. Something like that ever happened in Africa? No. So we need to first of all focus on these things, the criteria to take off from this kind of mess is to respect the rule of law, and also infrastructure development. The best way we can get infrastructure development is to be able to do things on our own technologies. Invest heavily in technology. China was very, very poor before, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But here China today is the second highest economic country in the world. So now look at this thing. For the United Nations issue, we are not being treated fairly. But the people see it that we ourselves are not taking ourselves serious. So what do you expect?
And that's the idea. That's the whole
and that's true, Mr. Dollar, you're right. Because we are corrupt. Just imagine, Mr. Dollar, quickly, maybe before more coming, before go to the line, you will have your own resources. So, like for example, they gave you government position. You are in that position. You take the country resources. Either you go leave Ghana, or you go live Dubai, or you go live US. The people are watching all of these things and they are seeing the kind of life you live, how fake you are. That means you don't love your country because you don't love yourself. So the people are saying, well, all the people, even if you give them the position, they are not ready. And that's true, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah,
even look at Rwanda today.
Yeah, maybe let me not cut you off. Before then, all the African leaders need to take their money to this place here in Europe.
To the World Bank.
To the World Bank. Okay. To keep it there. When they die in the money will mean there. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes if it didn't die in the coup d'etat, when they retire, they go for the money, the World Bank will start asking them how you got the money. They will frustrate you until you will forget about that money. All these things then be happening. So we ourselves have not been serious to look after ourselves. If you're not serious, you think somebody will be responsible to protect you? No, protect yourself first. Then the people will see that yeah, this person is serious. Then we should not joke with him. The Africans are not serious. That's what I can say. Let's try to be serious.
What say you? The Africans are not serious, and that for me is the fact. Even you and the right, they shouldn't give us even the not permanent seat. For me, yeah. That just take that because no need. They don't love your country. They don't love yourself.
The men say everything, and it's a wake-up call, like he said, or the president from Ghana and Roland Ruto from Kenya. I'm so proud to see African leaders standing up like the old guys that used to come and blast here. You cannot have an institution and operator for 80 years and you still using 1945 model because they don't take Africa seriously. The reason they don't take us seriously because Africans themselves don't take themselves seriously. Maybe listen to a man who told you that he took inflation from 22 to 11%. They brought about price stability. They brought that the Ghanaian cedis is one of the best performance currency in the whole world, that they have improved investor confidence, that Ghana is attracting interest from all over the world. How you think they did it? You think they look at the world model? No, they look at the problem in their country and came up with policy that will address those problems. That's why I say only a foolish leader will buy into the concept of globalism. No, you got to be a nationalist. You got to put your country first. Your country number one is your primary objective. Remember, another point he made in his speech, he talked about the Berlin Conference. There was almost 200 years ago what they call Scramble for Africa, wherein when it came time to divide African country, they called each other, they sat on the table to divide Africa. But now, in solving global problem, the number one country that is leading the charge for the whole world, they are not invited to the table. That's why he made a historical reference, because it was a job that more than 200 years ago, when it came time to divide Africa, you call all your European masters and all your brothers. You sat on the table, the Italian took that piece, Belgium took that piece, Norway, Netherlands, you divided Africa. But now, you are telling me, for the past 80 years, you are talking about global issue, and the country or the continent that is setting the standard for global issue is not even on the table. Who do you blame for that? That's why I can tell my lab brain for you, like you can cause all you want. That's why I'm a Trumpist, because that's the idea. Maybe another thing people don't know, right? Let me get you, before I turn the line over to you, right? Let me give you this idea about global warming. You know, the two biggest polluters of greenhouse gas in the world is India and China, right? Okay, Africa, we're not that industrialized. So it means we are not putting too much greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. So they will come out with this study. They see you and they see globally, they see international criminals that want to control the world war. They will come out with a concept that the climate change is affecting Africa. So I can be asking about Africa is the least polluter of the climate. If climate change is going to impact anyone, China and India, they are the ones that pollute the world. That's why Donald Trump withdrew from the Paris Climate Accord, because they want to punish America when America got more cleaner energy than China and India. So the idea was, why will you punish America by cutting down our factories and our job when the two biggest polluters on the planet happens to be India and China? If Africa is not polluting the atmosphere, why will Africa be the one to get the backhand of the deal? Whole day, they see rising. Because you know what? When they come up with this study, then they can shift African policy. When they come to the migration, their economy. So they are all scam. But people don't understand this thing. And now what the Ghanaian president is telling you that it won't be business as usual. Mangona is to focus on Ghana, not the war. I'm not the president.
The thing about it, in fact, if you look like, in fact, it's like, in fact, we are wasting our time, you know, sending our children to school or maybe to go on that side to go and study. And this thing look like insult because
it is an insult.
Seriously, because you have all of the children going out there to their countries, back to back selling here. When they come back home, and they have zero impact. The same people will come here and tell them that this will be happening, and this other one will be happening. Well, I thought ideas is just about a change.
No, because the thing here is they don't want you to think. That's why we got artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence just means the thinking you supposed to do, you give it to the computer to do the thinking for you. So that's why they tell you must like, share, and comment. So for you, you shouldn't ask critical questions. You should just go with the flow. Anything they say, you should agree to it. Oh, Africa is being impacted because the sea level is rising and you're affecting Africa. Okay, Africa is not the only continent near the Atlantic Ocean or the Indian Ocean. Everybody do got America near the sea. You are telling me if the F is being impacted, only in Africa the sea level can rise? What happened in Asia? What happened in Europe? Aren't they near the sea? Because they do this thing just to have global control. They are not interested in making you better. They are interested in showing division, causing trouble, and then using it to control you. That's why the globalist organization exists.
And that's the right word you just used.
Yeah.
They cause division. You're right. Well, anyway, 0770-203125. That's the number for you to call this evening to be part of the show. Even though, because of poverty, our children, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, they are crossing over the river or the sea. Just to go to the people land to enjoy. Hello to this first caller. Good evening.
Good evening, therefore, and let me say good evening to the rest of the panelists.
Yes, go ahead, David King.
This is David King. Nippon, this is how a nationalistic leader will go to the conferences and speak on behalf of that country and the entire continent at large. Not to go and stand there and give a parable when a spider web unite, the entire lion. How kind of thing are people looking for? People want to hear something tangible, something that will have change your mind. But if you have a leader that will go to the kind of conference and not be able to say anything that people will reason with, but you go there with a singing, begging string, Liberia is 178 years. So you want to tell me we order in the UN and we'll go to UN, we go there with the same begging and not presenting anything tangible to come to our country for our own growth and development. You listen to the Ghanaian leader, he spoke like a real leader. You listen to Kenyatta, now Kenyatta from Ruto spoke like a leader. Okay? But we're talking about United Spider Web to Tal Lion. What can that do for us in Liberia yet?
All right, thank you. Let me move to the next caller. Charles Cooper, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, Charlie, go ahead. I'm listening to you, my brother.
Mayborn, I think African leaders, they have spoken for too long, yet they have taken no tangible action. We are the bigger regional body when it comes to the United Nations. But maybe I think the name United Nations is becoming a complete contradiction these days. Because how can we be United Nations when people have qualms, grievances that are not being resolved? So it just tells you that maybe the world has become a crazy place. Because the United Nations has become a complete contradiction of its own name. You saw when the Israeli Prime Minister was speaking, all nations walk away. So are they united truly? Or they are only united on paper? That's the question we need to ask.
Wonderful. Thank you, Charles. You're making a very brilliant point. Yes, indeed, we saw that. We watched that. And I started that with the SKTV show. But again, keep your calls coming 0770-203125. That's the number to call this evening to be part of the SKTV show right here on the Friday edition of the show, because we are corrupt. For me, that's the reason why we will continue to beg until Judgment Day. Hello to this caller. Good evening. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have concerns to raise about what Mr. Dolly was saying.
Okay.
About those citizens of Liberia that are outside of Liberia. Yeah, but most of the time, these people also, there's the one that can lead the masses to vote wrong with.
Okay.
Because some people in America, they will sit there, they say, oh, well, you don't vote for this person, and I will never send support for you. And so they make their family to be scary.
Okay.
So somehow, we also, our brother, they really have to care for all in the country because we don't have to send war behind. Then we vote and see what we are passing through.
All right. All right, thank you. Well, thank you. Today's caller, good evening. I think they said they are divided. Hello, today's caller, good evening.
Yes, thank you, Mepon. Let me say good evening to you and good evening to the team of panelists.
Yeah, go ahead, my brother. Hussein, right?
Yeah, this is Hussein Kill.
Yeah.
I call from Jacobstown.
Yeah, go ahead, Hussein.
So, yeah, quite an interesting conversation. So, my question is due to those Liberians that are in the diaspora. You know, they play a very key role in our economy. But I have some Ghanaian friends and Nigerian friends. What I've noticed when Nigerians and Ghanaians leave their country and go to America or the Western world, they are more focused on developing their country. Ghanaian men who work in America, he prefers to live in a room, 2-3 people live in a one-room apartment, and what we do, they will want to send their money back home to develop their country. But it's on the contrary of Liberia. Many of our brothers and sisters there in the Western world, when they got money, they would stay in America, get old, and not want to invest in Liberia. If even they were investing in Liberia, it would not be tangible. You know, they would just do something temporary that, you know, that would not even benefit the country. So I think that the program the Diaspora have on ELBC, changing minds and changing attitude. That's a very good program. I think we need to change our mindset and attitude in this country. We just hit each other. Say, for example, maybe when you went to America and you decided to trust a friend or family member back here, you send your hard-earned money. People who live in the Western world, they don't just sit, you know, in their home and get money. They work hard to get that money. The man will send his money back home. A brother or friend will take that money instead of taking on a man project. He enjoy himself, you know, live in luxury. While the man gets suffering. Dishonesty, insincerity is what's suffering Liberians.
Thank you, my dear brother. I like that. No love. We even drink liquor with the people high and money. Today's caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, people.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much for this show. Maybe once again, this is our very discussion for Omega marketing. Maybe you see today the two people discussing about Africa. Maybe it's very much sorrowful when you're talking about Africa. Maybe, but you see, maybe from the start I started reading about Africa and so on the history of like some people, I get to know that our problem in Africa. The educated class of Africa, they are the one that causing problems for us in Africa. They are the cause. They are the one that really the development of the neighbor. Neighbor, where in the world? Are you getting me, neighbor?
Yes, we're listening to you, my dear brother.
Where in the world people will go to school? Some people in the country, the guys cannot say in Africa, they went to white men who they saw all the good things. Therefore, can imagine that started from the 70s. What some of them went to school? But some went there. Come back and they saw some Google instead of them coming with good and then they came with negative ideas. They call problem in the country. After they went to America, they saw Google T, they now came with good ideas. Negative ideas are problem for all.
All right. Brother Louis, your last call. We gotta go no time.
Monk and Mr. Dollar, how you guys doing?
We fine, thank you.
I want to thank you guys for the show, but for me, I have a different version, and I want for Monk to grab this. And the rest of you guys, I think Africa is cursed.
Wow.
Africa is severely cursed, seriously cursed. Mom, take for example, African leaders will go to Europe. They will attend a university. They will stay in the US. They will stay in Europe. They go to the best of university. They go to Cambridge. They go to Harvard. They go to the best of school. They come back. No, we have to do it maybe religiously or theologically. African curse. Maybe I can give you a name of government official from the past administration. I'm not monitor from the current one. They go in the US, they abide by the rules, the term and condition. They come back to Africa to break the rules.
That's not promoting for us.
They live in the Western system. They live in the American system. They come back. thinking that after going to schools there, thinking that after you adapt the course policy and framework, they come back, we thought that those methodologies, those philosophy and doctrine will be applied domestically in Africa. Africa is at war. Africa is impoverished. Africa, what is curse? Because people, for example, when I look at Monk is down there. You might go to school there, adapt the policy there, come back, instead of to actual life, to practical life, you will see more doing different things.
Opposite.
I was going to say, you didn't stay in the place.
Thank you, Louis. Actually, you're right, Louis. Everything about that, look, that's what some of people will come here, you think that will come joke. We just say anything times we are numbers. Liberia problem is both home and away.
No, bro. That's it. That's the truth.
Okay.
That's it. Well, I think Steve calling. 1 second here. Steve, you want to be in the show?
Yeah, I think we'll be talking about.
All right. Go ahead. You're online. You're on live.
Well, it's good to see you guys. Milborn, Mr. Dole and Monk, thank you so much to the listeners. The people from Liberia, I'm on a little mini vacation, sabbatical, whatever not. But tomorrow, first thing first, the chairman will be back. Yeah, we're coming with a lot of things going on. We're coming to discuss a lot of things. So please tune in tomorrow. Don't forget. The show will be hot, as always. The chairman will be back tomorrow. Right now, we're chilling, Mo. We're chilling right now.
The social chairman chilling, right?
Yeah, we gotta put social thing in the get me too much political. So, folks, let's have a good day. Monk, let me say this though. You know, I was following the news today. While I'm here, I'm following the news and other things, and I'm seeing, you know, it's the same thing as someone with CDC and the Unity Party.
Oh, for sure.
Such as Samuel Koga goes to they were just causing Samuel Koga the few decisions.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. They seen it with Thomas Fala. Thomas Fala with Tifa, Unity Party for a few months ago.
Oh yeah.
So it comes to Joseph Praga, they come to UN General Assembly, all of that. Guess what? Thomas Fala, Tifa now is a good man.
It's a good man, yeah.
So you see the trend. But not only that, I saw something very embarrassing. How the government bring all government officials, all the government officials from Liberia today. You say you come here at Diaspora, so I thought that Diaspora was supposed to be there. But you bring all the government officials and you talk the house with them. Like, what's going on? So tomorrow we'll expound some of these things, you know. But don't miss the show tomorrow. The show chairman will be back. And we got some social issue going on too. So let's have a good day, folks. We're following the show. And thank you so much, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. We shall meet tomorrow. I will try to be on the top show tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dola. We got to go. Yeah, so Steve or Mark, let me say thanks to the social chairman and quickly. I don't know if you're passing any other thing you want to say quickly before we go because we have only 1 minute.
Well, I think of all the color, Luis raised a very strategic point, and we'll go in depth tomorrow because there's everything happening. UN General Assembly, African leadership, whether Liberia is cursed, whether we have a cultural issue, we got some systemic issue that people that come in a Western world, they will learn all the best thing. They go to the top university. When they go to Liberia, they operate worse than the people that even grew up in the villages. And it's a problem. And it's been happening. The proofs are there. It's not being made up. That's the reality. So tomorrow it will be hot, and we'll go into details concerning these things and talk about
and even more, if possible, maybe every week, in fact, we'll bring about this kind of more discussion so we can know exactly what we're heading as a nation, because this is terrible for us. You can't even differentiate between those one who go out there to be educated or maybe to get some knowledge from the one that are back home. Everyone just corrupt. Just mess up the system. Just get through this. We gotta go.
I got different view on this particular statement both of you are making. My observation on this situation here is one of the cardinal reason why this kind of behavior is happening by the people from diaspora and the people on the ground. That is, the rule of law is not respected. The reason why we come to Europe, we behave because the people here, they respect the rule of law. by whom our government official does not respect the rule of law. The top official does not respect the rule of law. If you go as a stranger, you come back. Otherwise, the people that come here, I bet even Monk or Steve driving midnight where there's no one available. You see traffic light, not in fever, you will never go. You will never go. Like what I said. Because
all right, Mr. Dollar, thank you so much. And good night.
So the Africans don't respect the rule of law. Let's try to focus on that to make sure that every single person respect the rule of law.
And that's the point there. But that's the thing, Mr. Dollar. But some of you too, for that, and you will come also. And in fact, you will even be on someone.
I see you not respect the law. Even I respect it, nobody got time for me. What do you expect?
All right, good night, Mr. Dollar. We gotta go. Good night. We already out of time.
All right, guys.
Thank you, all of you.
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We talk about podcast and connecting people and culture from here and up out of the club. Monitor people who willing to sell. Blessing that time and the efforts are rest. The project is giving us here and the premise from there. The welcome and life we have here.
I lyrical health.
Master.
Play police who make on you. I can't ask it if you been you. Say my journey, Tina get as a man, yeah, and he's no money, the more I go, and you love the more I
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grandbaza.
And I dine ya to money, and I salia ya to money, and I wanna flee ya to money, and I put to boy ya to money, and I dine ya to money, and I salia ya to money, and I wanna flee ya to money, and I put to boy ya to money, and I don't get it now ya to money. That's the baby, and I don't get it now. Cause you work on my ya to money. Yeah.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grandbaza.
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We talking about podcast and connecting people and culture from here and up out of the club. Monitor people who willing to sell. The flesh, that time and the efforts are rest. The broadcast we giving a real and the premise from best. The world with my life we have here. From Grandfather Nima to Lufa, from Riverside to Raji to Chide, from Grand Crew, Bombing, Kidman, Monserrat, San to Backwalu, from Maryland, Bonkan to the Mikey B. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa.